Before we open up tonight's broadcast, I want to thank the group that runs the Highline Racing League especially. This is the Highline Racing League Centennial, and right now we're focusing on Toby Wedgwood in practice. Cheers to 100, and here's to 100 more. The dedication and the determination from the owners of the Highline Racing League, Toby Wedgwood and Kendall Kerr, Alan Kuhlman up there as well, these administrators who have the power to put this show on the road year after year, season after season. I want to dedicate this one to them. They have put on an incredible show on this channel. The races, phenomenal. The way they go about the operations, it's something to behold. And Toby Wedgwood with the perfect paint scheme to lead this one off. A sincere thank you to every member of the Highline Racing League who continues to keep this show as great as it is. I, for one, would not be at the level I am as a broadcaster without their incredible support week after week. And here's to 100 more indeed on this channel. The Highline Racing League Centennial celebrates 100 races on iRacing for this incredible series in their 15th season. And right now, Toby Wedgwood taking on his first lap in that beautiful number 52, a symbol of greatness and a symbol of the history that this league strives to continue to dedicate itself to, and I have a firm belief that they will do so. Let's get the ticker on the screen here and let's get the show on the road. Right now, Dylan Clark, top of the board in that number 5 machine. Tell you what, that kid's been fast all race long when it comes to the racing practice and the run-in qualifying as well. Wedgwood going to be on his way, and let's focus on the battle for the pole position right now. It looks like right now Dylan Clark is ahead by 0.2 of a second. That number 5 machine, well, what a way to say it. Sponsored by Fireball Talks NASCAR, and he is booking so far the FDN Broadcasting Network number 5 machine. You can see taking all the curbs in stride. Now, as a New Yorker, Watkins Glen is my home track, so tonight is going to be a bit of a sentimental night for everyone here, as Watkins Glen always puts on great racing, and at the helm, the beautiful number 5 machine is ran by Dylan Clark, as right now, Roberto Ramirez, a road course ace in his own right, runs his first 2-time laps. He's going to be second on the board, 0.2 back. Dylan Clark, with room to improve, will take that room, and it looks like he will be set up to go to the top of the board by a wide margin. DJ Stagner is returning, run third of the board. Brad Kress in fourth. Scott Zellner is in fifth, riding real high up there. Almost got it 4 wheels on the air there, as it's now going to be Dylan Clark with a 1:11.858 on the board there. How about that? Now it's going to be 1:11.375. So Dylan absolutely in his A game there, as he's going to be ahead of the field by a half a second. Chad Winstead won Mid-Ohio last season, going to be done in 8th. Scott Zellner still on the move there. Drivers still getting in their qualifying laps, and as we see these drivers get their 100th qualifying attempt in on iRacing in the Highline Racing League, how about we talk to the man who's on provisional pole, because he's on it by a wide margin. I tell you what, Dylan Clark has an awful lot of pace, and we will see whether or not it is here to stay, because it looks like Dylan Clark has pole position by a half a second. Whether or not it'll last, we will find out. But right now, Dylan Clark holds it by a wide margin, and we will get him into the broadcasting booth immediately. He is on a tear, and here he is. Dylan Clark right now, the 5 machine on pole position by about a half a second. How's it up front? And Dylan Clark looking for a word here. Do you got a copy? Does not appear Dylan Clark has a copy here. Provisional pole for the driver of the 5 machine. Nonetheless, we'll talk to him at a later time. We'll get him back on his way. Try to see if he can get back into his team voice chat, as it's going to be Dylan Clark in that number 5 machine for Turtle Shells Motorsports provisional pole, and he is there by a wide margin, half a second, to watch Adam Bozzi in the number 12 machine when it comes to position 27 on the board, of course, with number. Dylan Petit 13th with a target number 31 on target so far for it looks like middle of the pack in qualifying. Jason Hare is going to be on his way as well. He's in his second lap. First lap did not count. And the number 8, now the 88 Ford machine, going to make his way in with the Roush Eco Beast sponsorship, and he's going to be able to tear up the track and make his way down for his final lap in qualifying. Scott Wheeler going to be on the way as well, although it looks like he's done with 2-time laps, not going to be able to fare well. Jason Harris, his laps will count, and Harris now goes up to 7th on the board, about a second back on your leader in qualifying so far. So Dylan Clark is there by a wide margin. Adam Bozzi going to come across the stripe that time by. He is not getting time laps in. Kendall Kerr coming across, and it looks like he loses 3 seconds on this lap. No improvement. Kendall Kerr will be in the 21st position in that number 21. Toby Wedgwood going to barrel it in to the tire barrier there, and the 52 is done with Scott Wheeler, the only other driver there. So it looks like Adam Bozzi getting extra practice time, and no other driver going for a qualifying lap with 2 minutes and 57 seconds remaining. And you know what that means. That's going to be your starting grid on your screen in just a moment's notice. Adam Bozzi going to come into the S's here and now as we get your starting grid up for tonight's event. It looks like Adam Bozzi going to be done as well. So it's going to be all up to the remainder of the pack here, which includes one of the driver on the track so far, and that one driver is going to be Jason Harris. So Harris is going to be the one driver we see in the background as we go through your starting grid for tonight's event, and that grid will be led off by who else but the number 5 machine in Dylan Clark. Let's get them all on your screen. The 88 rounds the final turn here in the Glen, and going to come down to the start-finish line once more. But the starting grid going to be on your way, and here we have it. The road's going to be on your screen courtesy of Andrew Schulte, our new row system, one of the nicest, I believe, in the iRacing scene. And here we go. This time through, leading them off, it's going to be Dylan Clark with the 111.375 in the Fireball Talks NASCAR number 5 Chevy Camaro. Then it's going to be Roberto Ramirez, road course ace, winner at Seminole last season, in second with a 111.814. From there on out, DJ Stagner returned to the Highline Racing League in season 15, third in the chart with a 111.829, and Brad Kress going to be in position number 4 with a 112.121. Scott Sellner going to be 5th on the chart with a 112.185, and Tyler Rush position number 6 with a 112.442. Jason Harris and Jackson Hartman 7th and 8th. Harris is going to be able to get a 112.601, and Hartman going to be able to get a 112.664. Then it's going to be Dylan Petit with a 112.742, and Chad Whitsett with a 112.827 to round out the top 10. Then from there on out, it's going to be 11th through 20th, including, well, James McKee, position number 11, and Terry Brooks in 12th. It's going to be both 112s, but a 112.8 for McKee, 112.9 for Terry Brooks. Alan Kuhlman going to be 13th with a 113.019. Adam Bozzi, P14, 113.064. Connor Holden, the 81 machine, going to be right beside Matthew Rodriguez, both running 113.4s as the 114s fall back out of the top 20. Colton Gardner going to be in that 17th spot. Caleb Morrissey right beside him in the 18th. The 113.7 for Gardner, 113.8 for Morrissey. Ryan Potter in 19th with 113.938 as Robert Kenny rounds out your top 10 in the 113.969. He's going to be able to run. From there on out, it's going to be Kendall Curran in 21st, Corey Blevins in 22nd, Jeff Morash in position number 23 with a 114.999, and Kenny Brooks, the 54, with 114.277. Toby Wedge with the Highline Racing League Special Scheme, going to be 25th with 116.806, and finally Andrew Baker with 118.6. Going to be there in position number 26. From there on out, the remainder of the field goes as follows. Justin Gibbs in that number 93 machine, going to be riding out the field in 27th. 28th, going to be Ty Smith there outside of that 14th row. Grinning going to be on its way here and now, and it looks like he's going to be now Justin Gibbs, 27th. Dalton Beer going to be 28th. Scott Wheeler, defending champion, going to be 29th. Ty Smith going to be 30th, and the remainder of the field going to have Dylan Body, the final driver, in your starting lineup for the Highline Racing League Centennial here at Watkins Glen International. Let's get this show on the road as the drivers are already on start-finish line. The iRacing official pace car gonna lead him in with Dylan Clark right there with Brad Kress. And here we go for one flat hour of racing. It's gonna be 2 stages, no breaks. The first stage comes in at the 15-minute mark, and the second comes in at the 30-minute mark. But it's going to be 60 minutes of non-stop racing, so one of the timed events in this championship hunt. And it's going to be the man in the number 5 machine up in front, and Roberto Ramirez, the only driver in the front of the pack that we are still waiting on to get this show on the road, as he will be lining up on the outside line there in second. And here we go. The timing and scoring going to be on your screen, led by Dylan Clark, of course, and then the remainder of the field is going to go as follows. Ramirez so far there in P2, and it will be 60 minutes to get it done, as we will get it started in about 45 seconds before pacing gets on a roll. Dylan Clark going to be out in front. That is for certain. Roberto Ramirez is going to be in second. Now he's going to be on the track, and no other driver is, well, what we're waiting on. 31 of the 31 here are on their way. And now here for a one and only pace lap to get it started here in the Highline Racing League Centennial. The 5 of Dylan Clark gets out on the roll, and here we go for one pace lap before all the green action comes straight your way. And Jacob Harm going to come to the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Let's go QCR. Definitely backed, of course, when it comes to having a shot at the victory, it seems like Jacob Harm very optimistic, and these guys pushing hard as ever. And QCR had a great run last week, and now we're going to get one here at Watkins Glen. A different format, timed racing for the first time this season. Whenever we have a road race, it's always going to be timed, and you can see that Dylan Clark rounds the hills with Ramirez there in position number 2. And with Ramirez there holding the torch for his team, that number 42 knows he's got a great shot, and he always seems to have a great one whenever we go racing up in the hills, whether it's in the upstate New York scenery, Southern California, mid-Ohio, or anywhere else. Chad Winstead, number 34 machine for Queen City Racing, going to be in the top 10, and Winstead a road course winner of his own, so he's evidently going to be one of those drivers that everyone's going to have to keep an eye on. Not the best qualifying for him, granted, but I do believe he has a lot more pace in that number 34, as we will get it on the way here. And now Dylan Clark out in front. Roberto Ramirez is going to be in second, and DJ Stagner P3 with Brad Crest there in fourth. Scott Zellner going to be P5 there, as Tyler Rush in the Pizza Hut number 72 right there, and he's going to look to make this as fast as Pizza Hut delivery here. As you can see, the onboard perspective going to be put on his Twitch TV channel, and he's going to have all the insight from there. Great to watch these guys on their onboard feeds back, because they always have a lot to say and always have a lot to think about, because it really does come down to how you approach this race in your mindset. Physical aspect of driving and sim racing, it is there, but if you can't put it in perspective correctly, well, you're done for just about, as we will get it underway here in just 2 turns time. Upstate New York, Watkins Glen, a historic facility with background in years of Formula One, Indycar, and NASCAR. The Highline Racing League set to celebrate 15 seasons and 100 races here on iRacing, and there's no better place than the historic hills of Schuyler County. The iRacing official pace car going to come in this time by, and here we go for the first time tonight. 1 hour of racing here in the Highline Racing League Centennial. Let's go racing, led by the number 5 machine. We are green from Watkins Glen. And a calculated start by your top 2 drivers there. You let them have a bit of breathing room. That's what they're going to do to one another. 3 wide in the middle of the pack, the back of the pack, as a matter of fact. And you can see one driver going to spin around. That's going to be Corey Blevins. Nobody else involved. No caution going to fly tonight. It's going to be all green flag running, unless everyone in the field wrecks, and Blevins going to be the first man around there. Let's take a 10-second instant replay. He'll probably be spinning by then. It looks like Blevins there in the middle of your frame, going to come in on the 93, Justin Gibbs, but no contact. Just gets loose, hits the 93, and that's incident number 1 of the night. He's getting back on his way. Dylan Body now getting the bookend there in that number 30 spot in position. Everyone's going to be able to come through the S's nice and smooth, except for one driver. That's Colton Gardner in the grass. He's going to be on his way now. Going to keep it on the infield grass. Going to not be on the curbs. Everyone's going to be able to get by him. And the first lap going to be led nice and smooth by Dylan Clark. Roberto Ramirez now going to be on his tail. And the 42 right there in frame. Riding on board the man in that 42. Dylan Clark right in front. But you can just see that the 5 machine seems to have that edge. The Fireball Talks NASCAR 5 gets out in front. He'll lead lap number 1 far away ahead of the remainder of the field. When it comes to pace, best lap so far on the track, a 113.489, although it looks like it's going to be rounded down to 117 due to, of course, the way these guys started, a different starting segment, as they was a rolling start here at the Glen. Roberto Ramirez is going to be right there in the mix. Second is going to be him, of course. DJ Stagner going to be in third. Brad Crest, P4. Scott Zellner going to round out your top 5 so far. So not a bad showing by any driver by a long shot so far. As you can see, everyone's going to be able to keep it nice and steady. No wrecking just yet. It's been all calm, consistent driving, and it's going to be all about this patience as the night goes on. If you can't be patient, you will certainly be one of the guys who falls off of the pack, and that is going to be evident as Dylan Petit going to be there with Jason Harris. They all come off the curb nice and smooth, and James McKee going to be right there in the 11th position. The Got Milk number 9 machine will be a different look for him. It's going to be a bit of a different design compared to the SP designs that he usually carries. But James McKee still looking strong as ever, as he's running currently in 11th. Your Daytona winner, looking to get back into the swing of things. Missed, I believe, the race after there at Nashville. So not going to be all too up in front when it comes to racing in the championship standings. The playoffs will bail him out this season. But still looking to get just a bit higher when it comes to spots, as Jackson Hartman running in 7th, and it's great to see Jackson Hartman back in this league after quite a long time away. Last race he ran last season was Charlotte, not able to make a great run of it, actually wrecked very early. But Hartman, one of the most successful drivers in this league, back in action and hopefully here to stay. Tyler Rush going to be right there in the mix as well. That number 72 machine is right behind Scott Zellner, and these guys are loading up runs as fast as they can get it. Andrew Baker going to be in pit road right now, so certainly going to be in a bit of trouble. We'll find out just what happened, as it looks like he's going to be involved in what could have been a single car incident, and that it might have been, as Andrew Baker in front of a pack there before the wreck happened. So we will take a look and find out what happened, as it looks like Baker going to lose it there, and he's going to go right in to the infield barrier there and come right out. The suspension is destroyed, and he becomes a ricocheting machine. Dustin Gibbs is going to get involved in 2 wrecks already. Not good for him. And now Baker going to be down and out of winning contention. No yellows here tonight. No full course yellows, as we have a spin right there. Toby Wedgwood and the number 52 goes down around, and there's going to be a bit of a problem there. Not major damage, it appears. Here's the instant replay. You can see Toby Wedgwood there in frame coming across the back straightaway. We'll find out what happened, because evidently the 52 machine has some damage already on that. Looks like the left front, making that the right front. You can see he tries to get through the curb, has a bit of trouble, gets in the grass, and that might have gotten him all squirreled around, and that it does. Front ends it into the tire barrier like we saw in practice, so not good. Wedgwood now going to be in 30th, as Corey Blevins is now up to 29th. Dalton Beer going to lose a bit of time there. We'll find out why. It just looks like he might have gotten a bit squirrely off a corner, and that is the case. He's still fine when it comes to tires at the very least, but goes a bit wide on that first turn. Dylan Clark out in front by 2.5 seconds already over Roberto Ramirez. Ramirez so far has not set an officiated lap time. He's been using the track limits quite liberally, as you can see there. He goes all the way wide, and that's going to be a pretty big margin for error. He's going to be able to use it quite nicely, and luckily for him, iRacing will not mark that as an off-track penalty. Now, if they did do that, well, it'll be a big time issue for him, because he would not be able to clear that one. That is going to be admin jurisdiction, and I don't believe that it will be coming in his favor. So Ramirez is in second, but getting chased down by DJ Stagner. Dylan Clark running away so far, as Scott Zellner there with Tyler Rush. And you can see James McKee going to be there in 11th, fighting hard, as it's going to be a big charge by Dylan Petit to try to make a jump on him. And now James McKee looks to have it in 11th. Jason Harris now in 9th, and Dylan Petit makes it a bit more of a narrow exit there. He's going to be right there with the driver of the number 88 machine, riding aboard with Dylan Petit here and now. And you would see it's going to be a big slowdown for Dylan Petit there, as Jason Harris not going to take the apex quite nicely. James McKee now coming in. He's going to have to back off. You can see him in the rear view mirror. So Dylan Petit in a bit of trouble. We're going to be able to make it nice and smooth and get that pass done and done. Great work there for the driver of the number 31 machine. Comes out advantageous in the battle for position. Number 9, Jason Harris going to be right there in 10th, and James McKee going to be in 11th now, as Terry Brooks is in 12th. Dylan Clark, though, holds on strong now, about 3 seconds in front of the remainder of the field. Roberto Ramirez going to be in second, and DJ Stagner now about 0.6 of a second away and gaining in as we speak. So it looks like Dylan Clark going to be one of those faster drivers, but James, well, not a driver up front in the top 5. His name James McKee's in the top 10, but DJ Stagner now trying to find himself in the battle for the second spot. Gonna have a bit of tire smoke that time by, slows him down just a bit. Gonna lose about 1/10 of a second, and Roberto Ramirez holds on there in the second spot. Brad Kress gonna be in 4th, Scott Zellner gonna be in 5th, and Tyler Rush gonna be there in position number 6. So Chad Winstead rounding out the Super 7 here, and Winstead able to guarantee 3 spots so far, and that is what you want to see out of a driver like Winstead. Evidently he has all that talent, all that power in the car, and he's using it quite nicely as he tries to gain in on Tyler Rush right in front. This will be the battle for 6 if he gets to him, and so far he's getting there, just not there quite enough. And side by side, not yet. It's going to be a bit of a higher line for the 72 machine, but the door is still closed. It's going to be shut quite hard on Chad Winstead so far, as he continues to try to battle with the driver of the 72, riding aboard the rear end of Tyler Rush. You can see Winstead getting in slowly but surely, getting to the apex. They both going to be able to make it to the curb, and Winstead rides the curbs a bit heavier. Winstead now getting right up there to that bumper, almost contact, but able to run away. Tyler Rush gets the rush off the exit, and he will have that edge going into the first turn, the 90 as they call it here in the Glen, and they back it in nice and smooth. Rush going to be there, Chad Winstead right behind him, and Jackson Hartman going to be able to make his way into the 8th spot. Dylan Petit is in 9th, and now it looks like one driver going to be in a bit of trouble. Colton Gardner falls back 5 seconds on this lap. Ryan Potter going to be now coming off of pit road, so he has a big problem. Jeff Morash, Toby Wedgwood, Andrew Baker, the three drivers who appear to be out of contention so far. We'll find out what happened to the driver of that number 99 machine. It certainly seems like something went wrong. You will find out why. Taylor Morrissey fighting there with, looks like, Robert Kenny. The 99 did not have damage to this one. We will find out if it happened in the final segment. Gonna get right there with Kenny and Morrissey. And coming down to the braking zone here, it looks like Potter gonna send it in way too hard. And that's gonna be a big issue. And he sends it all the way to the gravel track. Big time front end hit. He's gonna be back on his way. No fast repair. That damage is gonna last with him all race long. But certainly gonna be able to get back on the track. Although it will be one lap down. Right now, Roberto Ramirez actually looks to have tapped the wall there. Now he's going to have a big pressure from DJ Stagner as Dylan Clark leads by 4 seconds over the remainder of the field. Undeniable the power that this man has at a road course. And coming into this season for the first time, he has become sort of a road course ringer already. Fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, and now fastest in the race. And how about the Fireball Talks NASCAR car taking this race by storm? And it's going to be the driver of the 5 machine holding on nice and steady. Brad Crest going to be in the Project Purple number 29 machine, holding on in 4th, just inside that top 5 and just outside the podium. Scott Zellner right there in 5th, that number 2 machine. Going to be right outside the battle as it looks like DJ Stagner right there in the 3rd battle, but it's going to be Chad Winstead who takes the grass just a bit too wide. Going to be able to hold on, but he goes through the grass twice over. Tyler Rush going to be in 7th now. Winstead did make it past Tyler Rush, but now Jackson Hartman is making it up on both of them. That time by, Hartman was about a half second faster than the 2 drivers individually. A 112 for Hartman and 113 for both Winstead and Rush. So certainly it's going to be Jackson Hartman making the moves here, and he's going to be able to keep himself in contention to get back out front. Dylan Clark going to be able to come to strike that time by with 50 minutes remaining, clocking in almost up to his first 10 laps. He's at lap 9 already, and he's going to be able to keep it going as long as the night stays in his favor. Roberto Ramirez is going to be on the way as well as DJ Stagner, as close as he's been. Now less than a half a second separates the two, and the Chick-fil-A number 64 machine is burning it down, and he's going to be able to keep that rubber on him. Last time by, a 1:11.981, so only a 1/10 of a second slower than your race leader. So absolutely one of the fastest men on the circuit, DJ Stagner, a former champion, is, as this is the Highline Racing League Centennial celebrating the past, present, and the future of this league. And Stagner, one of those guys who came for the way back era of this one, but he's still absolutely as competitive as ever. He's right behind Ramirez, a guy who won it last season at the road course. So one of the guys in the present, and Dylan Clark looks to be the guy from the future, and he could be the one who leads this league into a future of road racing prowess, as the 5 still holds on with now about 5 seconds of a lead. Side by side, it's going to be Jackson Hartman and Tyler Rush. Hartman has the edge of momentum, and he will have the edge with a preferred line going into the second to last turn here. Here he goes, and Hartman going to be able to make it in nice and smooth. Nobody able to compete with him so far, as it looks like he's in his own world with Tyler Rush, as it looks like Chad Winstead as well, able to gain just a bit more time and get away from this battle. Winstead in 6th, getting in on Zellner in, well, 5th. And it looks like that time by, Zellner was about a second slower than Chad Winstead. And with that being said, 48 minutes and 48 seconds on the board. These guys up front are still battling very, very hard. The closest battle to the racetrack, though, appears to be in position number 10. It's going to be a 3-car gaggle here. Petit, McKee, and Jason Harris. We saw these guys battling before. They still continue to go on fighting, and they will keep it going like it is nothing. Side by side, they all roll. It's going to be, well, not yet side by side, but we saw them side by side beforehand. Single file for now. Jason Harris going to be right there with them in the mix. Dylan Petit is as well, and they all take the curbs, hopping them nice and steady. But it's going to be McKee in the middle of this battle. No move made just yet, but they're oh so close to making one happen. Tyler Rush going to be right there, 0.4 of a second behind Jackson Hartman, and a second behind DJ Stagner now is on Roberto Ramirez. So losing a bit of time, but still right there when it comes to the pace. So good job from DJ Stagner to hold on. But tires might be coming into the equation. Last time by, Dylan Clark ran a 1:11.903, only 7/10 back on his best lap overall, which was a 1:11.293. So it might not be a major gap just yet, but surely tires might begin to wear out, and that will lead us to our first green flag stop of the night, which we could see very, very soon, as Clark holds on with now a 5 flat second lead. It's still going to be the battle in the mid-pack holding our attention here as Dylan Petit with James McKee, they are taking each other up the S's as fast as they possibly can, and it is evident that they are about the fastest two in a battle so far. They're not the fastest on the track, but those 1:13 laps, they are about as consistent as they come into the S's once again. The bus stop here going to be decided by Petit, the pace that is, as the 83 not going to be in frame, but the 9 machine going to be on the move in that Got Milk machine, and Chevy on Toyota here. The Toyota has the advantage as we are going to come down to the first stage break in a minute and a half. Dylan Clark looks to be locked up to get that stage win here. We will see if anyone can compete with him for the second stage in 15 more minutes time. Petit holding on with James McKee there. We look back up front. DJ Stagner still going to be about 6/10 away from the 42 and riding aboard. You can see Stagner in second gear coming off the 90. Gets into the third gear, putting the power down as hard as he can. The rev limit going to be decreased from 10,000 to 9,000 in the next gen. So you have to be very specific about where you put the power down. And now up into fourth gear. Ramirez going to be able to drift it big time. Going to be a big save. But now Stagner is into second. And Ramirez is going to be able to hold on and keep battling. But now I'm going to have a disadvantage in tire and in confidence. And that's a big factor as well. The confidence you have in that car, if you don't have any, you are going to be at a major loss. And the JBL number 42 machine, well, he knows it, and now he's going to have to recoup his losses and get himself back in the battle. Going to be in third place right now as DJ Stagner going to get himself into second, 7 seconds off of your leader. Corey Blevins, the lap machine, out in front of the battle for position number 2. Now it's going to be Scott Zellner and Chad Winstead separated by about 7/10 of a second at the very most. Brad Crest there as well, and Zellner out in front of Winstead, but will it be for long? We will find out. Winstead able to gain 2 spots if he makes this one right. We will see if he has the pace to make the proper move, as he's at 6 so far and has gained in second after second. That time I only gained about 1/10 of a second, and as they come to the stripe, it still is going to be a gain of only about 1/10 or so on Scott Zellner, but every 10th matters in a race determined by time. And with a second stage on its way, the first stage is over. 15 minutes have flown, and the first stage will be won by the driver of that number 5 machine. It is going to be Dylan Clark on his way, winning stage number 1, and he's going to come out with an extra amount of bonus points. 15 minutes in, he's a man on top, and he is setting the pace to have a 10-second gap or a 12-second gap by the time we get to the next stage in just 14 or so minutes from now. 13 laps into this event, and it looks like Dylan Clark still has this one in his grip. DJ Stagner going to be able to hold on as well. That number 64 is in second, as Roberto Ramirez is in third. James McKee going to be there in the mix, and Got Milk number 9 going to be now in position number 9, and Chad Winstead gaining in slowly but surely in the battle right in front of him. Brad Crest holding on to not 1 but 2 drivers, and they are fierce. And let's ride on board with the number 29 machine, see what he sees. The rear view camera for Brad Crest showing the perspective from, of course, what he sees inside the cockpit. The rear view mirror gives you all the information you need to know. Chad Winstead going to send it in just to the inside a bit. No fake out block from Scott Zellner. He's not going to be baited on that one. So the 2 machine actually able to gain time to that maneuver made by Winstead. The Scott Zellner machine, with all his expertise and all his success, able to keep himself out of harm's way. But Winstead just needs to be faster through the S's, and he's going to be able to gain an awful lot of time. He's going to have the whole cut by not 1 but 2 drivers, and he'll have that advantage coming into the S's. Once again, a bit of a later jump into the bus stop, and you can see Brad Crest going to take the curbs quite hard. Zellner getting closer, but not close enough. The battle rages on for the driver of the number 29 machine, as Corey Levin's going to go way high there. A lap car getting far out of the way. No issue for these guys as they enter the final segment of the circuit, not taking the boot like the Formula 1 drivers of yesteryear used to. This is the NASCAR configuration used since the middle of the 1980s, and it is considered by some safer given the incidents seen in Formula 1, but it's also much shorter. On iRacing, it's always preferred for some of these guys to go to the longer one, always preferred by others to stay short. But here, sticking to the NASCAR way, it is going to be the shorter configuration in upstate New York, as Scott Zellner holds on in position number 2. And with Zellner there in that runner-up spot, it is going to be now side-by-side. It's going to be DJ Stagner in second, but side-by-side indeed it is for fourth. Brad Crest going to be able to hold on, but it's going to be number 2 machine right beside him. This one's going to catch everyone off guard, as it's going to be Brad Crest able to hold on, but a major charge by Brad Crest there. Not going to be much for Scott Zellner to hold on to. Chad Winstead now seeing this could be a 2-for-1 opportunity. He goes right behind Brad Kress, going to give him support into the bus stop side by side. Going into one of the narrowest turns at Watkins Glen. One's going to give, that's going to be Zellner. And they are all hopping in and out like it's nothing. And Zellner going to be right in the middle of the battle. Brad Kress still holds on, and Roberto Ramirez is going to be in third, far in front of this pack. But still, these guys, as hard as they are fighting, losing time, they're still having a great show put on. Jackson Hartman in that 7th spot, getting in. Slowly but surely, he's going to be right behind Corey Blevins, and Blevins will be eventually able to give up that spot. Maybe this turn, it looks like that he will not. Maybe going to come down by the 90 here, as Roberto Ramirez is going to come into pit road immediately. First pit stop of the night, 15 laps in, regarding strategy, and these guys now going to be able to elect themselves one more spot. Zellner goes into the inside here. This could be inevitable. Chad Winstead not going to go that time, but Scott Zellner does make it into the curb, and Brad Kress going to go just a bit wider as a result. No pass going to be made. Zellner going to be fighting more with Winstead than he was with, of course, Brad Kress. And with 41 minutes on the clock, this battle is far from over. It's only getting started here. As you can see, now Brad Kress going to be able to gain about a half second. And with Roberto now on his way, only about a 36-second pit stop. He's going to be far from going one lap down here and gets himself back on his way. He should be able to cycle out into the podium once again. DJ Stagner only about 6.5 seconds out of your race leader. And that time by, he was about a second faster. So Dylan Clark could be losing time to Stagner here. Not sure if that's the case. We will find out. 40 minutes remaining. I tell you what, this number 64 machine seems to have something going for him. 64 for Chick-fil-A, putting something in motion and cooking something up quite nicely as they come down on the stripe once again. 40 minutes. This is a timed race, not a late race set on distance. And we say it's not going to be set on race laps at the very least, as it looks like 17 laps in, almost halfway through. Dylan Clark still has the show in his control. 6.6 seconds the edge, as he's now going to be able to gain back about a half second on DJ Stagner and go back to square one. Gaining a second or losing a second on the road course, it is not as much as an oval. You can gain that and lose that in just about a few seconds time. You make a mistake going into the turn, you brake a bit too early, brake a bit too late, you can be going back to a position or back to a certain time slot in just the snap of a finger, in the blink of an eye. And DJ Stagner almost going to take it to the grass there, able to keep it nice and smooth, but almost putting himself in a bit of trouble. And James McKee going to be able to hold on himself. The number 9 machine now in 8th, as he's going to be Roberto Ramirez, the first man to come to pit road, back on his way. And Ramirez going to currently be cycled out into what looks to be position number 15. 15 spot for Ramirez is going to be right in front of Justin Gibbs there. And Gibbs in the number 93 machine going to give him a fair shot here, as the Pegasus number 93 right in tow with the man in that 42. Side by side, they are not just yet. Robert Tenney going to be there in that number 10 machine for GoDaddy. And he's going to be go, and his Adam Bozzi's right there with Ryan Potter and Matthew Rodriguez. Potter's going to be a lap car at the moment. Dylan Clark still out in front, looking back at the battle here. 0.3 of a second separating 3 drivers even still. And this is the highlight of the race so far. Chad Winstead still fighting to get out of Brad Kress, and Zellner trying to do the same to Winstead. And with a battle like this continuing to brew, that time by, these guys actually ran 1 minute and 12-second laps. So these guys are still some of the faster guys on the circuit. That time through, Jackson Hartman not able to gain all too much. Still able to gain just a bit on a driver like Chad Winstead. But only 3.5 seconds out with a pit cycle on its way. It looks like so far Jackson not able to gain up to the lead pack up in front of him, as this 3-car pack is the closest we've seen to multi-car racing so far. Brad Kress still going to be able to hold on in 4th, Chad Winstead in 5th, and finally Scott Zellner now going to be up in that 5th spot as one driver going to pit as well, and that's going to be, of course, Roberto Ramirez. So Kress in that podium and Winstead in 4th. So now up into the top 5. James McKee going to come out down pit road this time by. No, he's not. He's just going to lose an awful lot of time. And it looks like he's going to lose it on the carousel there. Let's find out. It just looks like he went to the apron, and then it looks like it all started with him not going through the S's just right. And that's the case. Gets it slammed into the tire barrier. Big time left side damage, and he's going to have to keep that thing moving despite the fact. And now he's going to fall down back into 11th. He's going to be all out of control coming into pit road this time by. Something might be broken on the suspension. No, he's going to be able to keep it out on track with teammate Alan Kuhlman on the way. And Still Scott Zellner holding on in this battle. How about another battle in the circuit? It's going to be Adam Bozzi and Robert Kenny. Kenny right now going to be holding on by about a second's worth over Adam Bozzi, but it is getting closer than it was before. And of course, it seems like these two have been up in the middle of the pack, 17th and 18th respectively for a while. Now they're going to be 16th and 17th thanks to Ramirez and the pit cycle on its way. So with them being dead square in the middle, they still have a lot of time to regroup and get themselves a bit higher. It's far from out of the cards, as upstate New York, Watkins Glen is always chaotic, and still these guys up front 20 laps in have refused to make a pit stop, as Dylan Clark going to round himself into the first turn. One driver going to be a lap car right in front, and that looks to be Andrew Baker. No, it's going to be, how about this, the 99 machine? No, it looks to be yet another lap machine, and that will be the driver of, it appears, Dylan Body. Dylan Body going to be the next man to be lapped. He's going to be currently 22nd on the board, with Dylan Clark gaining in on him slowly but surely. So Body, position number 22, in that number 26, going to let the leader by nice and smooth and get back on his way. Going to get it a bit squirrely after the fact, but now Clark has a 6-second buffer to second with 36 minutes remaining on the charts here. That number 5 machine has been beaten by nobody, second to none, almost halfway into the Highline Racing League Centennial, and DJ Stagner there with Brad Kress in third. Brad Kress, position number 3 on the charts. It's going to be Chad Winstead in fourth. Scott Zellner there in fifth. Jackson Hartman now going to be about 5 seconds out, so losing time after all that time that he was able to gain. Just looks like it won't go the way he wants it to. And Zellner holding on with Winstead, Brad Kress there in third, and DJ Stagner still in second, as these guys have been running in a pack about all race long, 25 minutes in so far, and you would be shocked how long these guys have ran in a pack at Watkins Glen. One of these tracks where it's much harder to stay equal to one another, and now one driver going to be on that inside line. It's going to be Kenny Brooks, going to be able to get these leaders right by him. So no big deal with driver of the 54 machine and letting them all through, but Winstead, Kress, and Zellner have ran a very impressive race, not only because they're up in front in terms of position, because they've just been about dead even all race long. Scott Zellner losing a bit of time into the battle with Brad Kress and Winstead, but still going to be in tow here, and they still ran about dead even laps that time through, so it's just going to be some predetermined mistakes for the driver of the number 2 machine to keep him out of it, as he still tries to get up there, and Winstead going to take it to the inside, fakes it just a bit. Brad Kress will not take the offer, and it's now going to be Chad Winstead going way wide there. He's going to lose on a lot of time. Now it's going to be Scott Zellner in the mix, and side by side they are. It's going to be one driver going high for a moment, and it's going to be Winstead who gives, and Zellner is now up into 4th. Jackson Hartman, I tell you what, this kid's going to be in the number 6 spot, and it looks like he's going to be able to get up just a bit higher, and I'm going to have to take that one back. He is far from one of the youngins in this league. He's been here since about the start, and he is one of those guys who have had the experience to win race after race. This season seems to be a comeback after last season, and the 15th season, no better time to do it, as with 34 minutes here on the clock, Hartman seems to have something to hold on with these guys out in front, as Winstead going to be in 5th, but now 4.5 seconds away from this battle and gaining as they all come out of the first turn. The 90 is now going to be between Winstead and Zellner. Brad Kress holding on in position number 3. Dylan Clark, that time by, lost a little bit of time on his lap. Last time he ran a 111.727, so only a half second off his overall best in this race. Tires are not going to give him much of an issue, but DJ Stagner there in second. Looks like 6 seconds back flat. Gained just a bit of time. He's going to gain about a half second overall. Not enough to be a big difference so far, but don't count the 64 out. If pit strategy goes his way, he could be there for the taking, as we're almost up to our second stage of the night. Of course, no stage breaks here in the Highline Racing League for road courses, and that will bring us to yet another opportunity for bonus points. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remain, and it looks like Dylan Clark is in the cards to take those bonus points by storm. Nobody else in that position that he is in so far to get them. So the 5 machine representing Fireball Talks NASCAR here looks like he is going to be one of the favorites to get it done and get the stage 2 victory in his hand. Scott Zellner going to be fading back on Brad Kress. Chad Winstead there as well, going to dive it in just a bit deep, and you can see a bit of a change in the apex there. As we ride up over Chad Winstead, you can see how important the apex is in these turns. Winstead right now losing a bit of time after that incident in the S's, so it might be a loss of confidence, not an ability to put the power down, tires, fuel. It could be something going wrong there. But whatever's going on, the combination of circumstances have led to the man in that number 34 machine having just a bit of trouble. Winstead going to back it in that time by, and it looks like he's going to be able to keep it going. But you can see that he's hopping on the curve just a bit heavier, almost getting into the grass there, as a matter of fact. So Winstead has to think of what he has in store next for these guys, and it's still going to be the driver of the 34 machine fighting hard as ever to keep it going. Let's ride one lap interrupted with the driver of the number 5 machine here and now. Lap on board with the man who's leading this race, Dylan Clark. It has been magic to watch him. Nobody else seems to be as consistent as he is. That time by, he's able to clock down a lap that puts him a second ahead of the man in second, DJ Stagner, not able to compete just yet. And 31 minutes on the clock, 1 minute before your stage is concluded. Stagner there in second. Still a hard-fought battle here as it's going to be Zellner. The closest he's been this time by as Brad Kress comes in now. And we could see some halftime pit stops. Kress coming in for the 4th spot. Zellner going to be promoted up to 3rd. Jackson Hartman coming in as well. And with 30 minutes on the board, this should be the last time Dylan Clark comes to the stripe without any time on pit road. So this is going to be a stage win for him if he holds on for one more lap. Will he choose to take the bonus points, or will he choose to hold on for a second good run? It's up to him so far, as Dylan Clark in that 5 now has a 7.2 lead on the driver of that number 64. That's going to be James McKee, a lap machine now after the damage he sustained about halfway through this run already. And 25 laps in, it's going to be 30 minutes on the book so far. And Dylan Clark this time by, is he going to come into pit road? It looks like he will not. And the second stage going to go to the driver of the number 5 machine, Dylan Clark. Wins stage number 2, and we are going to send it into the 3rd stage for 30 more minutes, plus a lap need be, to get this one settled as Dylan Clark stays on the racing surface. And Brad Kress down on his way here and now. Now, it's obvious that these drivers will have to come to pit road. Every driver outside of the top 10 has came in. Now the top 10 from Dylan Clark down to Robert Kenny. These are the guys who have to wait to get themselves on a pit road as they're playing a bit of a longer game. Less than half of this race remaining. Kenny's going to have to choose here right now. Robert is going to be one of those guys who's going to have to choose with crucial decision-making on the line. Ryan Pidle getting right behind him, blinking just a bit. Justin Gibbs now going to be an 8th. Will he come in this time through? It looks like he will not. You see Dylan Clark still going to be out there as well. Brad Kress going to lead the driver to have not, of course, stayed out and lead the drivers who have come onto pit road. So the number 29 machine out in front. In terms of those drivers, the top 10 are those who have not come in. However, that's going to be a big circumstance to follow as Alan Kuhlman there in the 8th spot holds on strong in 8th. And the 8th machine, as a matter of fact, there in position number 8. It looks like he's going to be able to gain a lot of time thanks to the circumstance at hand. He is not pitted just yet, able to get himself up there for some stage points. Drivers who chose not to go for stage points, of course, going for the later run of this race. And Jackson Hartman right there behind Dylan Clark. Clark able to get by, but going back to a driver like Alan Kuhlman. We're going to get the wheels on the road here. Richmond, he had an awful lot of pace, not able to capitalize there. Just did not go his way later on. But now it looks like a road course. He could get some bonus points and get a solid finish. Top 10, top 15. Get out of there. As Scott Zellner now going to come to pit road this time through, and he will be on his way. The driver of that number 2 machine is in after 27 laps. Dylan Clark, it's any guess that when he's going to come in, as Roberto Ramirez not going to come in that time by. Terry Brooks, no dice. Scott Wheeler going to be there with Kuhlman and Gibbs. Robert Kenny would come in this time by, and he will choose not to. So only one driver in the top 10 so far has come in. That's going to be Scott Zellner on pit road, not in frame. As Clark still holds on. He's about a lap ahead of the number 2 machine so far, and he will come across the stripe coming in this time, it looks like the choice is still no with 27 minutes remaining. And now it's going to be Scott Zellner on his way, barreling back out. He's going to be now cycled ahead of Brad Kress, so able to get about a second or so on him with 2-lap fresher tires. A big advantage there. DJ Stagner coming into pit road from second spot, and he will have to cycle that in front of the guys who are now currently racing. As last time by, Dylan Clark ran a 1:12.004, so tires do not seem to be a big issue here tonight. It's going to all come down to fuel. Dylan Clark has ran a masterful race. His last lap only 8/10 slower than the best lap he put down in a half hour of full green flag racing. Nobody on his level just yet, I tell you. Dylan Clark is a man on a mission so far. Looking at his first road race win and his first win entirely in the Highline Racing League ASC Services Supply Premier Series, and I tell you what, he might have it in the bag so long as he gets that pit stop in and out and he doesn't make a mistake. This race ain't over till it's over, but right now, Dylan Clark has dominated the first half and decimated the competition. And I tell you what, it could still go anyone's way. I am not going to play favorites when it comes to that, but Dylan Clark has some performance edge so far, and he's going to be able to take that performance into pit road quite quickly. Tyler Rush is going to cycle out to the race leader. He's about 36 seconds back on your leader, as a matter of fact. Looks like he might have came down to pit road for some tires there, not for fuel. Dylan Clark coming in here and now, just about the most important pit stop of the night, and it will be him, Caleb Morrissey, and Corey Blevins at once here. Let's see what they got in store. Clark going to come all the way down to the edge as he has that pole position stall. Adam Bozzi going to come in at the same time. And you can see this could be tires. It could be fuel. And the verdict? Well, it looks like it's only going to be fuel here. No Goodyear tires going to be placed on the driver to the number 5 machine. And it's going to be Terry Brooks on his way. Caleb Morrissey there as well. And will Dylan Clark be able to beat him out? It looks like he will not, but it's not going to matter all too much. He's going to be able to beat out one, not the other. That's Kenny Brooks, as Dylan is going to be right there with Tyler Rush. He's going to still be able to cycle out in the lead. Unbelievable. A full pit stop under green, and Dylan Clark is still your leader. That is domination. It's going to be DJ Stagner 2 seconds back, and Tyler Rush there as well, but still Clark persists in first. And talk about a perfect pit stop. Still leading. He takes all the tires he needs, and he still has the tires set, of course, that he wants. He took all the tires he needed indeed, and that's going to be absolutely zero. He took all the fuel he needed as well, and that's going to be what carries him all the way to the checkered flag from here on out. What about the run? This man's been able to put on that number 5 machine. Nobody better so far, with 24 minutes on the board remaining. Look at the remainder of the field here. Justin Gibbs, that 93 machine, going to be currently in the 8th spot. Out of the drivers on the field so far, only 19 are on the lead lap. The last of which going to be Jason Harris as he comes by the start-finish line. That time by, he's going to be there with looks like just a bit of damage. A bit slow on the racing surface here. That time by going to be a 1:13.195, a pound, and it's going to have some tire smoke as well. So certainly not a car at 100% right now. That Roush performance, number 88, going to need a bit more performance to keep him going. So not the best showing, but certainly going to be some time to recover. Tyler Rush in second, but losing time. This is about 2 seconds behind Dylan Clark once again up the hills of Watkins Glen. The left-right bend, one of the trickiest, and admittedly at one point in motor racing, one of the most dangerous segments in all of autosport. Multiple F1 drivers lost their lives at this circuit. Piers Courage, Francois Sever, the 1970s was a ruthless time for motorsport, and Watkins Glen saw many lives lost. Here in iRacing, we don't have to worry about that. Even in NASCAR, we lost lives such as J.D. McDuffie in the 90s even brought us deaths, and it shows that motor racing is a very dangerous sport. But here on iRacing, you get all the pros, shall we say, of racing. The excitement, the engagement, and all the action that comes with it. But the danger is not there, and these drivers are able to go in, week out, and have the time of their lives. And if they don't, they'll still be able to come back either way. And Dylan Clark absolutely is on the rails, Jacob. I can tell you what, this man has been on the move like it's nothing. That Chevrolet will be able to come home with a Centennial win if he just keeps it on the track here. That's what I believe at the very least. And while it's not all said and done, DJ Stagner, I'll tell you what, made a great strategy position in himself. He's going to position himself now in second. He is there when it comes down to the positions, but not there enough to get himself, of course, up in the battle for what is going to be the first spot. 22 minutes on the board, and you know what that means. We're going to take it to our TrackCams22.com. Crank it up. Track Cams for Gromans, the best cameras on the iRacing service, and we hope you enjoyed watching them as much as we enjoy using them. Once again, trackcam22.com, the best cameras on iRacing. As we take it to our brief, crank it up, and we will be right back at about the 20-minute mark. And with 20 minutes on the dot here, it is still going to be led by Dylan Clark in that number 5 machine. But I tell you what, a lot of guys here with a lot of impressive runs. Tyler Rush in that number 72 machine going to be able to hold on with Roberto Ramirez in that 42. And we're both designed. Roberto Ramirez is a pretty successful driver here in the Highline Racing League, but I do believe his best success comes on the designer front. A designer for Tricon Garage designed Corey Himes primary in the Truck Series this season, and he has some accolades in that designer in front that I honestly was not aware of until about a few weeks ago, and when it all came into light, I tell you what, he's a multi-tool driver on the iRacing platform, his own designs, and his own talent wheeling this car in currently the 3rd position, a road course ace, chasing down Tyler Rush there in 2nd. The JBL number 42 machine has put himself in like a loudspeaker, and you know that he is worn like a JBL speaker right behind the Pizza Hut 72. 20 minutes and now less than that as we enter the final segment of this race. Winstead's going to be there in 5th, and Scott Zellner, as a matter of fact, going to be in position number 6 as Justin Gibbs comes to the pit road. That time behind, the gambles are starting to sort of file themselves out. Tyler Rush on a 34-lap stint, well, he's going to be coming in sometime soon. I do believe as it's going to be not enough when it comes to tires. We'll see if that's going to be the case as drivers who are running along are starting to pull themselves out of contention there. And only 5 laps into this new run for the driver of the 5 machine, Dylan Clark, I tell you what, has been able to pull away once again. He now has a 10-second lead over the remainder of the field. Nobody on his level. The battle for the second is heating up here, and that is going to be the focus for the remainder of this race if these guys are able to heat it up the way they've gone so far. And you could see barreling into the 90 degree, they're both able to make that apex there just about the same level. And the 72, that's that good exit, but it's going to be a better chase for the driver of the 42, the JBL.com. Roberto Ramirez machine, who won at Sonoma last season, is still intact and still has a chance to win here at a road course. Once again, Tyler Rush in that 72, though, don't count him out as it's 17 minutes, and it's going to be now just under 18. these two could still do battle for quite a while. Double file, they are not, but they're going to go right through, bumper to bumper, conjoined, not the hip, but at the nose. It's going to be one going high. That's Tyler Rush trying to get a better run off the high side, but I think that's going to be open and shut for Roberto Ramirez, and that it is. Jason Harris going to spin right in front of him. They're able to save it, but Harris going to have a big issue in front of the guys on that lead lap. Let's find out just what happened. And that could have been much, much worse, and a big, big thanks, of course, and props to Jason Harris to keep them out of the leaders. But it looks like he just lost some control, hitting the curbs there at the wrong point, and spins it, and thankfully spins it the right way and out of harm's way for any other driver, but hits the guardrails quite hard, and that might just be his night there. Dylan Clark able to get away from it, of course, as he's now going to be coming up to that segment. Still, Roberto Ramirez now going to be in second as Tyler Rush comes in the pit road. That is going to be the gamble over for Rush. However, for Roberto Ramirez, he's still going to be able to keep on, hoping to stay as long as he can until the tires and fuel run their course, and he could be able to get out just a bit quicker and beat Brad Kress. Kress, as a matter of fact, now in third. Battle, Chad Winstead and Scott Zellner involved in. It's still going, and these guys are not going to quit. Zellner, top 5, still one of the most successful drivers in the series. As a matter of fact, the all-time most successful driver. And at the road course, he is still proving his worth. Talent, it translates to wherever the Highline Racing League goes. And right now, behind the battle with Chad Winstead and Brad Kress. Mid-Ohio winner last season, Chad Winstead with a new number from the 10 to the 34, chasing down the 29 for Blacktop Racing. And the team game not been played all too much this season. At Daytona, evidently, Caleb Morrissey and Scott Wheeler were on a tear. But right now, Brad Kress, compared to all his teammates, is having a much better run. Allen Kuhlman able to keep himself in 12th right now, but Kendall Kerr is down into 19th. And it's also going to be the driver of, well, it looks like nobody else there on the team here tonight. Either way, it still looks like the Blacktop Racing boys will be led off by the number 29 as James McKee in that 10 slot rounds at the top 10. So it looks like still Brad Kress holds on nice and smooth over the remainder of his pack. And you can see 15 remaining minutes on the board. The 29 still the ace in this battle. Chad Winstead still there, still going to be kept hanging. 37 laps in for Roberto Ramirez on this run, and it evidently is showing that he's losing more and more time. He's now 11 seconds behind your race leader. That 5 machine has just been able to pull away from everyone, so that's not an exception when it comes to the performance for Ramirez, but still you can see now only 15 seconds behind Brad Kress on the 42, and Ramirez might have to step up the game in due time to keep himself in the mix. Roberto is going strong, and he's going to come into pit road this time by maybe not, and it looks like he goes down to the inside line, and that will not be it, using that as an optimal line to get the apex, so it is not going to be a decision to come in, but it will come very soon. Chad Winstead going to hold on. Brad Kress actually looks to be disconnected from the session now. Not sure what happened, but Kress going to be in big trouble if that is indeed the case. And we were trying to look back at what just happened as Brad Kress is falling down the order and fast. Now, Brad Kress spoke about issues with his setup very recently, and unfortunately, great racing for these guys, but now it looks like Brad Kress having a hardware malfunction. We'll see whether or not it was an issue when it comes to the driving standpoint. I'm not sure about this one, indeed. 29 of Brad Kress still on his way. It looks like he just drops from the server. It will be just like that if that is the case. Mistake-free racing from these three all night long. And it looks like for Brad Kress, the only thing in the 29 camp that made a mistake was the hardware, unless it was, in fact, him dropping off due to the wreck. We're still watching the instant replay. We're about a minute and a half back, trying to find the exact moment that he dropped off. Looks like through the S's, still fine. This is one of the trickiest sections of the track. He's still going, actually keeps it nice and straight and gets a good runoff. And there you go. Brad Kress down and out. That's going to be a hardware failure. Absolutely unfortunate. Unbelievable. He's up there in that podium, and now he drops off the board. Chad Winstead and Scott Zellner are going to be left to pick up the scraps. And now Winstead goes high. Morrissey going to come into pit road there. Zellner gets by his teammate, and now it's going to be the battle for third between two drivers. And Jacob, I tell you what, a great battle we had all race long with those three, and it's very unfortunate it comes to an end just like that. You never want to see hardware failure play into the way these guys drive, and I do believe that will be good night for the driver of the number 29 machine in Brad Kress. And certainly we're trying to get to the bottom of it right now, but it looks like he is still in his voice chat, and we'll try to see what's going on later. Just disconnecting for the session there. It could have been internet, it could have been hardware malfunction at the central level. But we will find out later on. 12 minutes and 48 seconds, and it looks like still going to be led off by 14 seconds. Dylan Clark has been on a tear and has led every second of this race. Colton Gardner going to go out of the inside line of that 40 machine, and on a tear, the 5 machine has been all night long. Jackson Hartman there in that number 19. Justin Gibbs going to be right there with him. And Scott Wheeler in the 97 holds on strong there. He's going to be able to keep it nice and steady as well as James McKee in the number 9 is currently in position. Number 9 is every driver going to move up one spot following the disconnection of Brad Kress. He's now 2 laps down and in territory alongside Colton Gardner, Jason Harris, and Dalton Beard. Tyler Rush now going to be in that 5th spot again. It looks at the gamble. While it did not pay off when it comes to the podium places, does keep him, in fact, in the top 5. And he's got Jackson Hartman on his tail. If we look on board with the rear end of that number 72, you'll see a load of that 19 right behind him. As it stands, it looks like he's going to be able to hold on. But Jackson Hartman just a bit faster lap after lap. That time by a 1 minute 13.191 for Tyler Rush and a 112.768 for Jackson Hartman. So this is going to be a battle to look out for, as this is almost like the aftermath of the Brad Kress action that we saw beforehand. Not an incident per se, but now these guys are fighting for similar positions up in the top 5, and Hartman is evidently faster indeed. Tyler Rush going to have to put on the jets here and rush his way out of this one. Pizza Hut, well, let's see if someone can out-pizza this Hut, as the number 19 is oh so close to making this move. Scott Zellner going to be there in position number 4, chasing down Winstead, and Chad Winstead has been on a roll. It looks at the 2 road course aces of last season on 2nd and 3rd respectively, but it's the new road course ace of Dylan Clark out in front by a wide margin, and nobody on his level at the moment. Jackson Hartman going to be there in position number 6. Justin Gibbs going to be in 7th, and Scott Wheeler going to be in 8th. James McKee is going to be in 9th spot now, and Dylan Petit rounds out the field in the top 10, of course. He's going to be P10 as 13 drivers on the lead lap, the last of which going to be Robert Kenny, and Kenny going to get a bit of trouble there, going to be able to save it, gets in the grass. He's going to get squirrely once again, gets in the grass once again, and going to be able to keep it on the move. Going to slow down for Dylan Clark, and now it's going to be 12 drivers on the lead lap. Unbelievable save, and Dylan Clark not going to get afflicted as a result. Terry Brooks in the 23, now going to be the final man on the lead lap, and he's going to be in jeopardy of being lapped very soon, as Dylan Clark coming in slowly but surely into frame. The number 5 machine coming into the first turn at about the same time. 10 minutes remain in this race, and it's going to be Dylan Clark holding on strong over Roberto Ramirez and Chad Winstead. Scott Zellner going to be there in 4th, Tyler Rush in 5th, Jackson Hartman in 6th, and a 17-second unbelievable gap for the driver of the number 42, as Winstead is 10 seconds back on position number 2 himself. And the closest battle on the racing circuit now it appears to be between the drivers in position. Well, still it's going to be the 4th place battle, as Chad Winstead is still trying to gain in on Scott Zellner, and now it's vice versa. Zellner does not have the edge. Winstead has it now, and with that advantage, it looks like the number 34 machine able to pull away just a bit. 0.6 of a second separated 2 in 9 minutes now, and it's going to be all about execution from here on out. Battles are now going to become a bit more short-lived. Scott Withern is going to be able to make his way up into 8th, and it's all about keeping it mistake-free from here on out. Indeed, no other driver seems to be able to keep it like Dylan Clark has, but still these guys in the middle of the pack, in the front of the pack, in the top 5, top 10 as well, they've been able to keep it nice and consistent, and consistency is key, especially in a race like this. If you're not consistent, quite frankly, you're going to end up on the short end of the stick. And these guys who know it, well, they're showing it, as Scott Wheeler going to be able to hold on with Justin Gibbs, and Ramirez going to lose 2.5 seconds that lap by, so losing an awful lot of time now. Let's find out what happened. And fighting there with the driver of that number, well, it looks like it's going to be the Caterpillar machine right behind him, and that's going to be, well, taking a further examination, the driver of Matthew Rodriguez. Looks like Ramirez there just gets a bit slow, arcs it in a bit slower, and that's going to just be a lot of time lost on his end, and deducting that time, and now it's a 6.5 second advantage over Chad Winstead. How about this, the 64 machine of DJ Stagner, who we were talking about oh so close to the front all night long. But as it stands, it looks like the man in that number 64 machine has fallen a bit further back as it is. The driver of that number 64 will be 25th and down and out. And he's going to be on pit road for quite a while. He's been there for 14 minutes repairing damage. And done it appears to be for him. And a one shot to get this win at Watkins Glen. Down and out. He was second place for the first two stages. And now it looks like the only man who's been able to keep it solid. Man of the 5. Now Scott Zellner 0.3 of a second away from Chad Winstead. Both of these drivers are gaining in. Remaining second in Roberto Ramirez. So the closer they get to each other, the further they push each other. That means it's only going to become closer and closer to a battle for the race victory at the end of the day. So the further these two push each other, the better the racing will be, and I'm sure of that at this rate. These two are so close with 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. They've just got to keep going, and they'll find themselves in the battle. Now it's going to be a 4-second advantage Ramirez has. It's getting less and less. Now the guys in third and fourth are in frame as Rodriguez, while a lap car, is now keeping up and almost catching up to Roberto Ramirez. He's going to have to put on a bit more of that speed and power we saw earlier to come out of that if he wants to keep himself in winning contention. See right behind him, Winstead and Zellner. They both are in frame now. And with that being said, they're going to have to barrel in here and now. And it looks like that they will. It looks like Ramirez is going to go way off. He's going to be way wide. Now it's going to be 2 seconds. And Roberto Ramirez is going to miss the bus stop there. Now it's going to be a 3-car battle for a second. And this is his worst nightmare. After all that time, after all the advantage he had, he's blown 10 seconds in 2 laps. Now it's 1 second ahead. He's going to have to be mistake-free from here to even have a chance. But one more will send him to the Shadow Realm here. And that Shadow Realm going to be right into even the gravel trap, the grass, or perhaps out of the battle entirely. It could be done and done here if he loses that spot. And it's going to be Chad Winstead in third, Scott Zellner in fourth. And now it's going to be a 3-man battle for position number 2. Jackson Hartman holding on there with Tyler Rush. Not able to out-pizza this hunt as Rush has been able to hold on nice and smooth. Nobody on his level with 5 minutes flat remaining. And the 42 stays in there. Chad Winstead, Scott Zellner, and Tyler Rush P5. And I tell you what, these boys have been on a tear like it's nothing. Looks like they will be able to keep on battling. Hartman going to be able to back it in just a bit more, and Tyler Rush goes way wide there, and that's exactly why. It looks like Jackson saw that coming, and now they're dead even, side by side for a moment, and Hartman going to have to wait for one more mistake to have an opportunity to pounce. 0.2 of a second separate third and fourth. 0.2 separate second and third, and now these boys up front are getting a bit rowdier as it's going to be Ramirez leading them down to lap 47. Next time through, they're about a half a minute away actually from your leader. Actually, they're going to be leading themselves into lap 46. That's how far ahead Dylan Clark is. He has a full pit stop on the field. He can take a pit stop and come back out in front and tear through once again and eventually come back out as perhaps the race winner. We will see if he's able to do that because right now Ramirez holds on strong. Chad Winstead there in third, and Scott Zellner going to be in fourth, as now with less than 5 minutes, Ramirez is going to drift it. He's going to be able to hold on to the spot, but just barely, and the battle going to reset once again. Unbelievable. Ramirez now going to take the place of Brad Kress, and it looks like he's not going to take it in a good way as he loses one to Winstead, and now might lose another in due time. Big wreck. Dylan Clark's involved. Your leader's gone around. This is major, and we'll find out what just happened as 24 seconds ahead. Dylan Clark for the lead, 46 laps in, has wrecked, and this is why. Dylan Clark sees the driver of that number 23 in Terry Brooks and just can't avoid him. Spins, and now he's in trouble. 18 seconds is his lead. He wrecks, and he's still out in front. His only choice now, go, go, go. But this is going to become treacherous. He just wasn't able to avoid Terry Brooks there, and now it becomes a race against time. He needs to play it smooth and not overthink anything now. It's going to just be about limping home. He has 18 seconds. 18 seconds over the second place driver. He would have to lose more than 3 seconds a lap, more than like 5 seconds a lap to even be caught at all. And this makes it that much more enticing for the leaders to keep pushing. Second place is still 18 seconds back here. Third place is Roberto Ramirez, and Scott Zellner is in fourth. And either way, it looks like these guys are still far out of winning contention, but they're still going to have an opportunity to push as Dylan Clark gets involved in a wreck, and he's still out in front. These next gens with their composite bodies, we say it whenever there's a wreck, and we reiterate it again, he is still kicking even though that damage would have been crucial in any other car. If it was a next gen, or rather the last gen, it was Xfinity. If it was anything else, motor blown, day done. Dylan Clark is going with 3 minutes remaining. And this makes it all the more exciting as Dylan Clark going to go way wide that time by. This is a real pace check. Coming out of the start-finish line for Dylan Clark, it looks like that lap will be a 112.021. Back to form. Unbelievable. Spins, and he has a chance to still win as Ramirez now going to be able to hold on to third. Chad Winstead gets the better of him for second right now. But Ramirez still fighting hard to keep himself on the podium here. We'll see if he's able to do so as they come to lap 48. These guys are still 19 seconds back on your leader. Closer, but no cigar. I tell you what, these guys are still far out. And I don't think it's going to be enough. The way it's going, I tell you what, it just doesn't look like it will be that way. As 2 minutes to do it. The closest battle now going to be between Jackson Hartman and Tyler Rush. Once again, as these two are going to come down into the 48th lap. Will it be a dive from Hartman? No, it will not be. Just going to lay on that back bumper, and it's going to be the 19 machine holding on strong with the 72. These two are still bumper to bumper, as it will be Dylan Clark. It looks like leading them this time by to what could be the white flag. Will it wave this time through? It looks like... we'll find out now. Coming to the start-finish line one more time. It could be Kenny Brooks there. And it looks like Dylan Clark is going to be able to come by and take it once more. Last lap, it looks like it is. And the white flag is going to be out here in Watkins Glen. This will be it. And it's going to be Dylan Clark leading the way still. Chad Winstead fighting hard there with Roberto Ramirez. Scott Zellner going to be in 4th. And Tyler Rush is in 5th. The battle on the podium still is fighting. It's going to be Dylan Clark still out in front. This is going to be them coming into the 90-degree corner. Still going to be a big run up by Chad Winstead. Winstead has nothing to lose at this point. If he keeps it on the car, of course, keeps the car straight. And that's what he's been doing so far as Dylan Clark rounds the S's. And 100 races on the iRacing platform of the Highline Racing League. 15 seasons of great action, and we are just getting started. Tonight is a celebration of past, present, and future, and one of our newest members is one of our new shining stars. The future of the Highline Racing League, it is here, it is now, and get ready to celebrate the number 5 machine he's going to be able to do this time by the Fireball Talks NASCAR number 5 to win for the first time in the Highline Racing League Premier Series. The Centennial goes to him, and this is going to be the story of a new race winner. Welcome to the Highline Racing League, Dylan Clark. You're in the show. Unbelievable. And that will be it. Dylan Clark wins by a landslide. Then Chad Winstead going to be able to come home in 2nd. Scott Zellner going to be there in 3rd. Roberto Ramirez comes home in 4th. The battles are far from over here. Let's watch them. It looks like it's still going to be a chance from Jackson Hartman. Will it be? We'll find out, as this is going to be the final lap for every driver. Still looks like Tyler Rush going to be able to take this one, and that will be your top 5. Rush gets the edge, and Hartman comes home in 6th. But Dylan Clark, the man on the mission, gets it done and wins for the first time in the Highline Racing League. Unbelievable. As he's going to come down this time by, and he's still going at full pace, so we might have a miscalculation. We were told final lap last time through, and this one verifies it. Undeniable. The future of this league, it might just be Dylan Clark. The 5 machine comes in to secure it once again, and this will be checkers once more. No wreckers, and it's going to be Dylan Clark securing it for sure. He wins the Highline Racing League Centennial, and there you have it. And that's going to be all she wrote for the driver of the number 5 machine victory. And it was not a long wait, but it is victory at last. He comes home on top by a wide margin, still over 20 seconds over a wreck. Absolutely incredible job. A new dominator is found here, ASC Services and Supply Premier Series, and his name is Dylan Clark, who wins the first race in these road courses that we have seen all season long. The 5 machine comes out on top by 21 seconds over Chad Winstead. Then Scott Zellner in 3rd, and Roberto Ramirez rounds out the podium. Tyler Rush there in 5th. Jackson Hartman in 6th, and Justin Gibbs in P7 with Scott Wheeler there in 8th. James McKee going to be in 9th. Alan Kuhlman there in position number 10. And the remainder of the field goes as follows. The final few drivers in the lead lap include Dylan Petit, the last of which on that lead lap, with Robert Kenny in 12th, Adam Bozzi 13th, Matthew Rodriguez 14th, and then Caleb Morrissey in 15th, Connor Holden 16th, Endel Kerr 17th, Ryan Potter 18th, Colton Gardner 19th, Jason Harris in 20th. Then it's going to be Dalton Beard 21st, Terry Brooks in 22nd, Kenny Brooks going to be 23rd, and Brad Kress 24th, DJ Stagner 25th, Ty Smith in 26th, Dylan Body 27th, Corey Blevins in 28th, Andrew Baker in 29th, and Jeff Morash in 30th. And finally, Toby Wedgwood, league owner, in 31st. Burning it down, it's Dylan Clark. And still the man on the move, celebrating an incredible victory at Watkins Glen. The Centennial is his. And like the man on his uniform, Blake Rake of Ken Block, this is a burnout to remember as Clark is tearing down the front stretch here in Schuyler County. And there you have it. The motor has blown, but I don't think the memory to this one is going to be blown up anytime soon. Unbelievable showdown there. The driver of the number 5 machine in Dylan Clark. Nobody on his level. And this is going to be a race I think I'm going to be talking about for a long time. I tell you what, as we get him up into the broadcast booth, well, for starters, Fireball Talks NASCAR car winning the 100th race of the Highline Racing League here in the Centennial. And you did it at my hometown, home state, or rather, of course, home state, not hometown, of Watkins Glen, New York. Unbelievable. What a race to remember. Dylan Clark coming home for FTN. Top of the board. How do you feel after this one?
Oh, man, I feel great. That was probably my best race that I've had on this service, and came at a perfect time. 100th HLRL race, and came at my best track, Watkins Glen, and I just feel amazing. I'm kind of speechless right now, honestly.
And certainly a race that any driver would want to win, celebrating the past, present, and future. And I tell you what, rookie in the season, you might just be the future here when it comes to the road courses. So what was the key to your success here? Because certainly you pulled away from the field all the way around.
Honestly, it's comfortability with the car and the track, and just being comfortable around the other drivers. And I know these drivers are good, so it really helps that I know that they won't screw up in front of me and wreck it. But sometimes it does happen, as you saw coming out of the horseshoe, I think. And but luckily we kept it going. I got a little lucky with the damage, and engine kept together and went on to win.
And still able to go on to win after that incident. Now, of course, that must have been a shocker to you, because certainly something that I didn't expect to catch you in that incident as soon as we shot it to it in the frame. So what was your thoughts in that moment, and how did you recover from there?
I saw him spinning out in front of me, and I didn't see him really holding his brakes, so I figured he was probably going to roll back across to the right. And when he swung back right, I was like, oh, perfect. He's going to funnel off towards the wall. But then he locked it down and kind of parked it in the middle of the track. And I was like, oh, no, I got nowhere to go. So I hit the brakes. I think I locked him up. I don't know for sure, but kind of spun it around towards the wall. And honestly, I just turned it around and went on racing again. I was expecting a meatball flag, honestly, but I didn't get it. Now, car felt fine, so I just kept driving.
And how about that? Continue to drive like it was nothing. Your first win here in the Highline Racing League. Now, this is going to be one absolutely to remember. Now, Watkins Glen, our first road course of the season. For all timed races here, but next up it's going to be Dover, and that's going to be a totally different change of pace when we get back at it next week. So what's it going to take to continue the success at the Ovals?
Just keep this momentum up, honestly. And big thanks to all the TSM guys. They help out a ton on ovals, and Tyler Rush, Justin Gibbs, all those guys. They really put in some work. So get some teamwork done. get some team practices done rather, and really try and work on our game and go back in there and hopefully run strong.
There we have it, hoping to run strong with your first win here in the Highline Racing League, winning by a wide margin the Highline Racing League Centennial. Dylan Clark, anyone you'd like to thank, and any final thoughts?
FTN, especially for you, putting on a fantastic show every single week. We really appreciate it. TSM Turtle Shell, Mobile One, Italian Motors, Talcart. You guys should see that scheme coming pretty soon. My parents for giving me this awesome sim rig, and HLRL for letting me run in their league.
And there we have it, Dylan Clark coming home on top for Fireball Talks NASCAR, winner of the Highline Racing League Centennial. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Drag him right back into an empty voice chat to make sure he's back on his way. And how about this for the driver of the 34 machine? Second on the board, it was Chad Winstead. We would get him up in just a moment's notice here as we try to drag him up and up. We would try to get into the voice chat immediately. Discord just giving us a bit of trouble. These drivers are able to communicate openly with one another, and we will get him in here. And now Winstead, one of the road course aces in this series, and second place on the night with a hard-fought battle with many drivers there. What did it take for you to come home runner-up here in the Highline Racing League Centennial?
Well, definitely took some work. Kind of botched qualifying on lap 1 and spun in turn 1, kind of clipped the wall. So then had to restart going into the second lap. On cold tires, I just could not get grip and pace. So I had to come all the way from 10th to do it. But yeah, it was just pushing real hard that whole race, trying to gain as much ground as I could. And some really good battles with Scott Zellner and Brad Kress. It was a lot of fun battling with those guys.
That battle is one we noted on all broadcast long. You guys were putting on a hell of a show there. So what was it when it came to the pace you guys had? It seemed like for about 20, 30 laps, you guys were dead even all throughout.
Yeah, I mean, we were hitting our marks pretty good. I think everybody was running pretty similar lines and similar lap times. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to pass when everybody's so even, like we were. I felt like I had a little bit of a speed advantage coming up on them, and thought I was going to be able to get around them pretty easily. And they really pumped the brakes on me and started running hard and flat out, and we were just having a lot of fun battling back and forth. I hated that Brad lost connection there, whatever happened, because I don't know if they took tires or not on that pit stop, but I was coming up on him fast, and I felt like we were getting ready to have another really good battle there for a podium spot.
Absolutely able to battle for that podium there, and it looks like a few guys able to sort of have the strategy not go in their favor. So what was when it came to your strategy? Only one pit stop we saw unless there was damage involved. So when was the time for you to make that choice?
Yeah, so when I was stuck behind Scott and Brad there, I decided to bring it down just a little bit earlier than what I was going to. I was going to run out that full 32-lap stint, but I felt like maybe the undercut was the play, to take fresh tires and come out and do a half split there. And I was hoping that taking the fresh tires and getting out on track, one lap earlier, I could get in front of them. And then when they did their pit stops, next thing I know, they're 3.5 seconds in front of me. So I was freaking out a little bit, thinking I made the wrong call to get tires. But it seemed like once these things warmed up, I had a little bit more of a speed advantage.
It all came back to you there, able to come home in second in a hard-fought battle with many drivers on the end of the night, and you came home, of course, second here at Watkins Glen. Now, next race on the schedule, going to be Dover, a much different change of pace there. What's it going to take to carry the success over back to the ovals?
Well, unfortunately, I was really hoping to get the win tonight. I'm going to need it because I'm going to have to miss next week. I'm going to be on vacation in Ireland, so I'm going to be out of the States. Which will be a lot of fun. My wife and her mom and I are going over there, and thinks that I'll have to miss a points race, but I'll be not really thinking about that probably on Thursday.
And certainly most likely not, but nonetheless, what a way to go out until, of course, you have to take a week break there. So Chad Winstead, second of the night here. Anyone you'd like to thank, and any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are congrats to Dylan on his first win. Came out of nowhere and just dominated this race. I was really hoping that could have gotten a better qualifying lap and maybe had something for him, but he was fast. So congrats to him, and then shout out to my wife and friends and family that are all watching this one. Got a few people to tune in tonight, so shout out to all of you guys, and thank you for putting on this broadcast and everybody in the league for some clean, good racing tonight.
And there we have it. Chad Winstead, second on the board here tonight in Watkins Glen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Drag him right back in, and we will get your third place finisher here. And Scott Zellner looks to be on the right foot, shall we say, to start this season off. A podium at a road course here, keeping it consistent, and a lot of battles throughout the way. You came home in the podium indeed. So how was it managing 60 minutes at the Glen?
It was real fun. I enjoy the road courses. It always seems like though I'm always behind one or two guys, and I don't know if anybody was going to catch that 5 car tonight, other than having some sort of anti-lock brakes. Kind of really struggled getting into the corners, but all in all, it was a really fun race. Kept the car clean, and didn't have to worry about pit stop. Just had to get a splash and go, and yeah, it was a good night for the 2 team.
Certainly a good night for your end, able to get into a very fierce battle with Brad Kress and Chad Winstead there, and you guys were like just about dead even the whole way through. It looked like 20, 30 laps of non-stop battling. How was it? Because that appeared to be the closest battle all night long.
Yeah, honestly, it was a shame that Brad had some sort of connection issue, but yeah, Brad, Chad, and myself, we seemed to have pretty much the same speed the whole night, and it was really fun to duke it out on a road course, because sometimes you just are running qualifying laps out here by yourself, not really battling with anybody. So it was really fun to race with 2 guys that are really clean, and it was a blast. I was really happy with this week.
And it was indeed a blast. It looked like nice, clean, fair racing there, and strategy only came into play, well, one time. You guys were able to pass Roberto Ramirez, who had a 50-lap tire stint run there, so he went all the way according to our timing scoring, even though there weren't even 50 laps according to our scoring. So a bit of a miscue there, but you pitted one time. It looks like a good majority of the field did. So how is that compared to if you went all the way?
Yeah, I don't really know how he did that. I know he was saving fuel the last couple laps, and actually almost ended up running him over when I got by him. I didn't know he was saving fuel that bad. But there was almost no tire fall off, maybe like 5% on the tires halfway. So, like I said, just taking a splash of gas to get you to the finish seemed to be the good call there. I didn't necessarily think the tires mattered a whole lot. In fact, I think the cars were faster when you had some tire wear on them.
Well, there you have it. It looks like fuel was the name of the game when it came down to the pit stop. So, nonetheless, it looks like strategy played out mostly in your favor. They were able to come home with a nice podium and a fierce battle at the end. Dover, next race on the schedule here. So, what's it going to take to go over into Delaware and find success there as well?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus. Next week, we're going to welcome the birth of our first child in on Wednesday. So I'm going to be hopping out of the race car, putting on the grilling shoes, and I'm going to become a dad next Wednesday. So it was real fun, the beginning part of the season. I wish the best to everybody else, especially my teammates at 4 Horsemen Racing, Scott Wheeler and Caleb Morrissey, Austin Bloom. Hope they can go out, get us another championship for 4 Horsemen Racing, but I'm going to be cheering from the sidelines.
And there we have it, Scott Zellner, a great way to, I guess, cap off your run here in this season. Of course, best wishes as you become a father. So thank you for your commitment to this season, the all-time winningest driver here. So thank you once more for your time, 3rd place at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Mom, Nan, Pap, Lauren, love having you guys tune in every week. Thanks to all my teammates, and thanks to everybody that runs this league.
There we have it, Scott Zellner, 3rd on the board here at Watkins Glen. Thank you once again.
Thanks.
There we have it. Scott Zellner rounds out your podium, but it will be Dylan Clark, the number 5 machine, who comes home on top. And what a race that was. 1 hour of flat-out racing, and it all comes down to the man of that 5 machine taking it from the first, second, under green, and that was a great race to remember. Dylan Clark certainly going to remember it. Our next race in the Highline Racing League will be, of course, next Thursday at Dover, and then we'll be going on next time live Saturday with a doubleheader with a full send SuperSpeedway series. I believe they'll be doing ARCA cars with Legacy Daytona or Michigan, and then the Stock Car Racing League All-Star Race for the Red Line Truck Series. Thank you all for watching tonight. We hope you had a great night. We hope to see you whenever we are live. Once again, this has been live on FTN. We hope you liked and subscribed to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we once again hope you have a great night, and thank you all for tuning in to the channel. This has been the Highline Racing League Centennial, and once more, a major thank you to those who run the Highline Racing League. I don't believe I'd be here without any of them. So major shout out to them, and I hope to see them more and more as the years pass on. A great group of drivers, great group who manage it, and always worth celebrating as the Centennial marks a great historic date in this league's history. Thank you all once more.